Hi there. It's Saturday, and guess what I'm going to do? You are looking at the Dazer lamp right above my head on the couch, and I am going to do some creating on the couch. I got my computer out, my laptop out, and the little book where I've been sketching my creative on the couch pages. I've only done a couple videos. Here they are. You've seen these. Did I do one more? Yes, I did. So, I think I'm going to take just a little bit different approach. I'm going to try, there was a suggestion that I slow down and let you see my thought process a little bit more as I do these. So I'm going to try that. I may not get an entire page finished. I may start on a page and do a part of it and let you hear what I'm thinking as I'm doing it, and maybe what I'm working on, and maybe give you some hints if I can. And then I may go into, in the same video, I may go into a fast forward to finish it up. We'll see how that works. And certainly, if you have any comments, if you want to see anything closer, if you want to know something, or maybe if you have a suggestion that I try the next time, please let me know. So I'm going to turn my camera down and set it up, and we're going to do some more sketches of creating on the couch. Okay, I think that I'm set up pretty good here. Before I get started, since I'm starting, I kind of want to do studies, but I want to go over with you what I've been using to do my drawings. And this is a manuscript fountain pen. I got mine at Michael's. It comes with 5 different writing nibs and a little attachment here where you can fill your own ink. I haven't done that yet, but I sure am going to try that sometime. I use this a lot in my letter writing and in my drawing. I really do like it. Someday maybe I'll get me some really expensive fountain pens. But what I've been having a lot of fun with lately are the Tim Holtz Distress Stains. I have several colors here. Let me pull them out for you. I do not use all of them on the same drawing, but I have them over near me so that I can reach for what I want. I have broken china, worn lipstick, rusty hinge, scattered straw. I find these all work for facial drawings, portrait drawings. Walnut stain, that's the one I use the most of. And faded jeans. I like these two colors together. And this milled lavender is a very, very light lavender color. And I do like it on some things. But I find that when I want a blush tone, I end up going to this worn lipstick. And it's a little pink, but you can water it down. So those are what I've been sketching with recently. I use my water brushes. I have a wide range of water brushes. I like them for different reasons. These are my Royal and Langnickel water brushes. This is a wide tip one. I like it for brushing in the background. And then this one is a little bit more of a medium tip. You can get just a little bit more control with it. This is the Pentel water brush, and what I like about this is it really has a fine tip on it. And if I'm trying to get in there, and although I've been abusing this brush, sometimes I don't get the cap put back on it. But I do like this one a lot too. This is the Tim Holtz. This is kind of like a medium tip brush. And I like it for general drawing and for blending. And this is their wide tip flat brush. And I like it to do the broad areas in the background. But I do find that the bristles tend to separate, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I do like this for doing the backgrounds around the heads. I also use some pens other than my fountain pen. You'll see me reaching for different things at different times, but these are the ones I pulled out today. This one I use quite a bit. It's the Sigma Graphic. It's a 1. I like my Faber-Castell in the sepia colors. This is a medium point and a small and a bold. I think my medium point and my small are drying up on me. I do have another set of these. And you'll see me even using something as common as a regular ballpoint pen at times. This is the bold Faber-Castell. And then I have these Copic fine liners that I reach for at times. I do have another set of pens that I use very sparingly. They were gifted to me by Giselle Grenier. And these are these Staedtler Special Lumnicolor pens. But I use them very sparingly because you can write on vellum. They're very permanent pens. And so I keep them in the bottom of my bag and only use them sparingly. So those are the things that I use. Now I kind of want to talk about my approach, especially my approach on the ones that I'm going to do today. I'm going to do study. Let me get out the site that I'm using. I'm going to have to sign back in. I'm going back to, can you see this? I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can move my, I'm using let me pull my computer this way for now. I can't draw like this, but I'm using this image base. And absolutely free photos, and I went through all of this. It says, what does free mean? I went through all of this on a prior video. But this is the site that I've been coming out to lately to draw while I'm looking at something online. I also use other sites, and I'll show those as I go along. But today, I chose this little fella, and let's expand him. Doing on the Windows, I have Windows 7. If you do a Control Plus, you can expand that picture as much as you can. You can see his eyes better. Now, he's got a lot of shadow in here. Maybe that might be the way my screen is too. But I want to concentrate. His mouth is open. His mouth is open, but he doesn't have any teeth showing, and I like that. So I'm working on open mouths, and I'm working on noses. And of course, this is a young child. This is almost a baby. I would say he's probably between 1.5 and 2 years old. So I almost wish I could get his entire head, but this is all that the photographer took. Looks like he's got a little tear in his eye there. Isn't that sweet? Oh, it makes me want to hug him. And his mommy and daddy was probably making him be good. Don't smudge up that window. Looks like he's got just a little bit of a frown there. Just a little bit of a frown, like, oh. He's got a little curved nose. And you can see his nose, the photograph kind of loses the shape of his nose right in here because it's very light. And then he's got a chin up in there. The angle of his eyes, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Maybe I should use my hand, or maybe it'd even work to use a little brush here. The angle of his eyes come this way. And he almost has that same pose where his body, you know his body is facing that way, but he's looking back toward the photographer. So he's kind of got that over-the-shoulder look to where his head is facing that way. His head is facing in this direction. His body is facing in that direction, and he's looking toward the photographer or toward you. So it's kind of got a three-way pose here, which I find very interesting, which makes me really wish that I could see the entire, more than just the, see, that's all that's on this photograph. But we're going to work with this because also what I find interesting on this page is the reflection in the window. Because it's got a bar coming down here, but you see the reflection. It's either a window or a mirror, and I think it's probably a window because a mirror would show more of a, not such a muted, faded out image. A mirror would show the exact opposite of his head. His ear, look where his ear is in relation to his eyes. His ear, the bottom of his ear, of course, comes with almost in an angle. I would say this is probably a 45-degree angle. If you're measuring from this side up, a 45-degree angle, to the bottom of the page. And then his eye, the top of his ear comes right with his eyebrow. Of course, it loses its ear and it loses the side of his head. You kind of have to use your imagination for what happens with his head here. But I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to concentrate on just the facial features today. And this is going to be a slow video because I'm going to be talking a lot. One of the requests was to slow down and to talk through what I'm seeing and what I'm hoping to accomplish. And I may only get through drawing the eye or drawing the nose or drawing the mouth or just doing a very light area, maybe getting in a hint of the ear, and then I may go into fast forward and finish it up. I just kind of have to see how this goes. I'm kind of feeling my way through this. So at this point, I'm probably gonna move this out of your line of vision. I wish I could set this up better. Maybe if I pull my lamp up a little bit more, you can see it better. Now I'm kind of hesitating because my keyboard, I'm having to put my book on my keyboard. And I'm not sure that's really a smart thing to do. Let's see, I wish I could show you this, but I know I shouldn't. I got a calendar from my nephew that's all about my little niece last year. But I'm going to put that right there, and I'm kind of holding down the label. There, I think that may be a little bit better for my keyboard. I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes I have to reach under there and hit a key. Now I've got some shadow going on. I'm going to try to turn on my light, but I don't know what it'll do to my camera. That's better for me. I don't know how it is for you. Somebody asked me if I got hot under this light. This is a Dazer lamp, and it's really made for people that do a lot of needlework, and that's why I originally bought it. But I use it right here at my couch for reading and other purposes. I don't really use the magnifier a lot anymore, but I like it because I can bring it down close, and it does shine right on my page. So we're going to see how that works. Now I'm going to concentrate on his eyes here. I'm wanting to tip my page up a little. I'm not sure how this is going to work for you and for me. I'm wanting to put my hand under here and draw. Now I've been using ink to draw with. I have not been using pencils. You'll see a lot of people start out drawing and they'll draw with pencil and then they'll erase it. And that's okay. I kind of prefer to have my mistakes there, and I find that they kind of work into the image. Not all of them are successful, but as I go back and look at them, like I was showing these two, and as I go back and look at them, I can see my mistakes, and I can study and go, oh, his ears are gigantic for his little face, you know, and I didn't realize that until after I really got done with it. And then I went over and studied it there. Now, it's kind of like what I'm going to do on this one. So I don't mind not being able to erase. The images come out as they are. What I really mind is I might have to move this out of your line of vision. I'm really not sure what you're seeing, especially since I have the light on. Hoping that this works. My cursor's floating down the page here. What I'm wanting is to prop my book up like this. Hopefully this is working for you. Now I got my book kind of set at an angle. I don't really like drawing straight on. That's uncomfortable for me. And I kind of prefer slanting my book like that I have more movement with my arm. Somebody commented on that when I was writing my letters, and I think that comes from our penmanship classes, like we always angled our pages when we did penmanship. So I'm comfortable angling my page, but sometimes it throws my perspective off because I'm drawing at an angle. So that's just something to consider. Now I'm only going to concentrate, I think I'm going to start with this eye, and that's another thing I want to talk about. This is going to be a lot of chatter, but study your picture. Do some time to really look at it. I know I pointed out some things. His face, the light source is obviously coming from this direction. That means this part of his face here is in shadow. You can see his ear because its ear is three-dimensional, and his ears is kind of, you know, all ears kind of stick out from the head. So you can see some on the three-dimensional part of his ear, you can see some light right in here. So that's what helps you see the shape of his ear. If his ear were a part of his head and not three-dimensional, it would fall into the shadow. Just commenting on that. Look at in here. I don't know if you can see. I don't even know if you're seeing this, what I'm talking about. I was talking about the ear falling into how the light hits. The light is coming from this direction, and this part of his face is in shadow. This part of his face is in shadow except for his ear because it's three-dimensional. You can see some of the light hitting the dimensional part of his ear, which is very interesting. I love that little tear in his eye. I love that. And look at he's a baby, so he's got a puffy face. He does not have an angular face yet. And so he's got just a very faint, what did I say? Puffiness under his eye. I call it a baby face. You know, and of course he's got a big puffy cheek in here. And you can see I think he's been crying because he got just a little hint of a frown. Like he's been crying, but now he's quieted down a little and he's thinking about it. He's got just a hint of a little baby frown in here. This is really an interesting picture. So I only want to study one thing at a time. And I think I'm going to start with the eye. And that was the other thing I was going to say. Sometimes I'll start, depending on the picture that I'm doing, I'll start at different places on my picture. I rarely draw an oval for a head. Not that there's anything wrong with that. See if I pulled out my scrap papers here. here's a piece of a scrap paper. It's not anything wrong with it, but you'll see artists, when they do faces, start with an oval like this, and then they'll have a pencil and they'll go like this and divide the head in half, because they're figuring out their placement of their eye, and they'll put in 2 eyes, and you know, halfway down put the nose and put the mouth, you know, like that. And that's okay, because it does give you a good proportion of a face. But I find that when I'm drawing from photographs, that doesn't help me get the personality of the photograph. If I were going to do something like this while I'm drawing a photograph, well, first of all, I would probably not use my ink pen because I can't erase those oval lines. But I would think the oval would have to follow the shape of the oval head, so that oval might look more like, and he's got a baby face, so instead of being a round face like this, it would probably be more of an oval shape, egg shape. Well, maybe not too egg shaped because he's still a baby, but it would be more like that. The eyes, yeah, you might draw the line coming down like this, but it'd have to be halfway down, and then you got to figure out where his nose would go in here and where his lips would go here. And I just find that, and then of course the ear would come down here. Now that works, and it works quite well, but I find that I lose the personality that I'm going for when I'm doing these. To me, they're fun to do, and they're whimsical, but to me, for my purposes, I feel like I lose the essence of the photograph, or the essence of the artwork that I'm trying to accomplish. I'm doing something very mechanical. And I think, you know, a part of doing your drawing is not mechanical. It's how you perceive this picture at the time you're doing it, how you're studying it. And if your eye happens to, you know, like I was showing you on that one lady, how over here, how I was struggling. Let me get over there. Here, I felt like that eye, this eye was up too high, you know, and that happens. And I had compensated for it, but not quite enough. And what you do is you learn from it, and then you flip to the next page and you try on the next drawing. You could go in and, you know, draw the oval and halfway down there, and, you know, but I lose it. I lose what I'm trying to accomplish. And in my drawings, when I do that, become very, what I feel like, mechanical instead of artsy, and how I'm perceiving it at the time, which is affected by a lot of things. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm trying to protect my keyboard. The angle of my screen, which you may or not be seeing, affects the shadow. Here, when I put my screen down like that, I see a lot of shadow in here. I see a dirty screen too. But when I move it up like this, his face becomes less shadow. Probably what the picture would look like in real life. So there are a lot of things affecting this picture that are not mechanical, that are very unique. And I think that's a part of, even though your final drawing may not look anything like this little baby boy, it becomes its own piece of artwork and very unique in itself. So, all of that being said, you wanted a chatty video, here it is.